Hello. I want you to take a look at this event that I coded. This is mod event 10, and it looks pretty straightforward if you know a bit about coding. The trigger, if you have a couple of tier 2 techs and this event fires, it's going to spawn a really powerful fleet, which is pretty cool in itself. But what if I told you you could do the same thing with a few less lines of code? And that's the beautiful thing about scripted effects and scripted triggers. And that's what we'll be talking about today. So what are scripted effects and scripted triggers? Basically, they're a way to put anything in the event triggers category or the event immediate for the effect and make it into a single line of code that can be called anywhere else. Basically, it's a way to kind of shrink your code, especially if you're going to be using multiple instances of the same code. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it without showing it to you, so let's do that now. So the first thing you'll need to do, if you haven't done it already, is you'll need to create 2 new folders in the common folder. To do that on VS Code, you can just right-click and new folder. I already have them created, or if you're just going through the file explorer, you can right-click in an open spot and create the folder there. But you will need one called scripted underscore effects and scripted underscore triggers. And inside of those, you will each need their own text document, so .txt, and keeping up with good naming principles, since this is just, everything here is named events underscore modding, I just say events modding and whatever the top folder is. So events modding scripted effects.txt and events modding scripted triggers.txt. So let's start with scripted triggers because they are the first thing you see inside of an event. So anything that is in the trigger category for an event can be used as a scripted trigger. So I'm going to take this. As you can see, it's trigger, root, has technology, cold fusion power, lasers 2, armor 2, and shields 2. I don't know why I just picked it. I just was like, let's just pick a few things. And you can copy all this, Control C, go into scripted triggers, and there you go. That's literally it. And I call it does have 2-tier text. And you can copy this and come down to any event and put it in the trigger like that. And so this event now looks for a scripted trigger called does have 2-tier text. If it does, it fires the event and it goes to this file to find it. Scripted effects are kind of the same thing, but instead of being in the trigger, in the event triggers, you have the event immediate that can be turned into an effect. So in this event, we have it creating a small fleet, sets the owner to root, and creates a Alpha class Titan and 3 Gamma class escorts, and spawns them on top of your capital. So all we need to do is find the part we want to put into the scripted effect, copy it, and it's the same thing. And I called this has 2-tier technologies spawn OP fleet. These names can be anything you want, just I would suggest good naming practices and kind of explain what it is. As you can see, I kind of tied this effect to this trigger, so it does have 2-tier text, has 2-tier text, spawn OP fleet. And you can take that and also put it in the immediate. And that is pretty much it. Like I said, you can use it for, what's mostly used for is triggers, because you'll often use the same, you'll have a bunch of events firing from the same triggers, but you don't want to like tie them all together, or you want them to fire separately but trigger at the same time. This is a great way to kind of compile your code and make it a little bit easier. Same thing for effects. It just makes it a little bit easier, especially if you're going to have multiple events fire the same effect, rather than if there's a bug, you have to go through 1, 2, 3 events. But if you're going to just have it once, you can just go to scripted effects and just clean it up here, and it'll apply to all 3 events. So yeah, that's scripted triggers and effects. And here we are in the new game, and what we're going to do is just do event. We're going to test it out real quick. Event mod event.10 can. And remember, the debug or the command console will overrule triggers, so even if we don't have the text, it'll spawn it. But you can see it detects if we have the lasers or all the technology, and we'll spawn a fleet, maybe.
We have encountered.
Yep. And if we do mod event 11, it does the same thing. Yeah. So we got some very powerful fleets. And this is just a little taste of what you can do with, ooh, that. I'd hate to fit the bill on those. But that is the power of scripted effects and scripted triggers. So thank you for watching.